Chapter 47. Since their first meeting at the wrong Hilton 4 years ago, Steve and Jared continued to meet regularly for breakfast. After the success of their first venture, and with full understanding that Jared was still coming in from Staten Island, it was no hassle for Steve to get up and go to the south of Manhattan. It was now a tradition, and he either walked or took the Broadway 7th Avenue Metro to Cortlandt Street. Typically, he was up early, still excited from his date with Isla. With time on his hands, he walked the familiar route through what was the clearest morning he'd ever experienced in New York. Americans are not fans of walking anywhere, but in New York, where public transport is a hot, cramped and smelly experience, the streets are full of people walking their way around the compact island. A year before, he had attended a dinner meeting a few miles over the Hudson River out by Woodcliff Lakes. Deciding to stay the night outside the city, he'd walk back to the hotel after dinner, hoping for a view of America that his non-stop tour of the cities would not give. Although it was only a mile, he quickly wished he'd got a cab as a police car pulled over and he was aggressively interrogated about why he was walking. Not where he was walking to, or as a reason for going there, just why he was walking in the first place when there was plenty of transportation options available. It was assumed that he was either a criminal, a vagrant, or a mentally unwell. Steve was required to produce his hotel documentation and passport to convince a disbelieving gun-wielding officer that he was neither homeless nor mad. He just fancied a walk. There was a spring in his step this morning. It was stunningly beautiful, the clear blue sky and late summer warmth providing a stark contrast to the many dull and misting mornings that had greeted Steve on many of the previous times he'd taken this familiar 4-mile wander through the city. The perfection of the morning seemed to make everything more proximate than usual. Steve drank in the September sunshine, allowing his neck to fall backwards so that the rays could hit his face each time he passed between the gaps in the tall buildings. He felt alive and present, quickly losing all track of time, only snapping back to reality as his phone beeped as he approached the hotel. His face lit up once more. It was a text from Isla. "Morning, are you up? You're worth the 75p to find out. At JFK, waiting for plane. I miss you." A smile covered his entire face. "Looking forward to us being together again. You're the bomb. Damn, he forgot to put a kiss. I forgot the X. Forgive me. XX. He put the phone back in his pocket just as Jared rose, his arms extended to engulf each other in sort of a tight bear hug reserved only for very dearest of people. "You know, if you always get here so early, we could meet close to me in the future. Then I don't have to leave so bloody early. But then, my odd English friend, we would not get to honor this great tradition. And this way, I get to bug you every time you come over here during an American out of a job." After 4 years of working together, theirs was a fabulous friendship. Jared loved his trip to London, but it was on the East Coast that they mostly got to hang out, working with the media, promoters, and the groups of people essential to turning their unknown British acts into American sensations. Between them, they knew what they were doing, and their partnership was one of the most revered in the industry. They were truly a great team. But the other reason we had to meet here today is that I've got to meet someone at 8:30, and I can't be in 2 places at the same time. "Cheat on me, Jared? Of course, I cheat on all my women." Steve laughed. They were both decent, honest men. "Seriously, this investor guy is a whale. He sold his theater a year ago and is looking to put a load into something cool. I'm meeting him for breakfast at the Windows on the Wild restaurant to see if we can't help him find a home for the money." "So he didn't like heights. It's 106 floors up." "Needs must. He's from out of town and want to see the place. I'm rolling out the big guns and taking one for the team. Vertigo. Ha! It's all in the mind. At least, I hope it is. If I puke on his shoes, it will be a short-lived business association. So, how long have I got you for, old friend?" "Less than an hour right now, so let's get to it. Remind me why you're here again." Jared ran through the plan for the next 10 days. There were no surprises. They were a well-oiled machine. Tina was right about Jared from the word go, but had been experienced enough to not undermine them. She left them to figure out how to work together. When Jared needed to go, everything was in place, and after a brief hug, they arranged to regroup in the office later in the morning. Steve hadn't finished his breakfast, staying where he was to allow the waitress one further opportunity to refuel his coffee. He'd steal these 5 minutes for himself just before his day went crazy. That 5 minutes became 3. Tina was calling to disturb his peace. She checked him most mornings, and today she was struggling with a different band in London. She needed his advice, and as her right-hand man, Steve would always set her at ease. The trust between them was absolute. It had to be, especially given how little time they spent together. "I can't get them to think about things differently." She was frustrated by the band of experienced musicians who should have more trust in the woman who made them a fortune. Steve offered an ear of advice, which she wouldn't take because Tina knew what to do. They were interrupted by a waitress with the bill. "Tina, I need to go to the office. I'm getting the metro. I'll call you when I'm there, okay?" When Steve got onto the street, somebody was screaming. His call to Tina was still connected, and she was still speaking, but Steve focused upwards before fumbling to hang up the call.